Hello everyone and welcome back to another speed paint video. In today's video I am drawing and coloring Touka from Tokyo Ghoul. Um, just like the last video I put out, this was a graduation present for one of my friends. And this one didn't take quite as long as the previous one. This one only took 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is pretty good actually for me. Usually it takes around 3.5 hours or so. And how I did this one was instead of sketching it all on the computer is I sketched it in my sketchbook and then I scanned it into the computer, kind of enlarged it, and then traced it and everything for the line art. And when I was sketching this, what was frustrating me was that her arm just didn't look right, either one of them, just because the one on the left of the page, I guess, is in her pocket, and so it's kind of hard to get the like proportion and everything right because it's all bunched up right there and everything. And then also her other arm on the right side just looked too long, and like when I was adding the folds of the fabric and everything, kind of looked like her arm was like broken and twisted, and so I didn't like how that looked. But I think I pulled it off okay. It could be better, but... And then again in this video I tried doing the selection technique I talked about in the last video, where you just make a general outline around what you want to color with the lasso tool, and then deselect everything you don't want with the magic wand tool. And the colors, or the palette that I'm actually using, I selected from one of the pictures I found, and the colors for her skin were quite dark, and I don't know why that is, but I went with it, and I think it turned out okay. It might be a little too dark, but... And for her hair, this was one of the struggles I had with this painting, just because when I do hair, I don't usually draw the individual strands and everything, or like the group of strands like I should. I tend to just use this shading technique that is in this video, but I felt like it wasn't quite right, so I ended up changing it. I think that comes later on in the video, so I'll talk about more about that later. Also, while I was coloring, I realized that her jacket, on the right side of the screen, on her shoulder, she has like these kind of leather patches, we'll call them. And I didn't draw those on the other side like they're supposed to be there, but I just didn't draw them for some reason. And I was too lazy to go back and try and fix it, so I just left it. And with her jacket here, I kind of shaded and kind of went into more detail than I usually do. Like, to me, it kind of looks realistic. Like, it could be more realistic, but I usually don't do quite this much shading for the folds and everything. But when I started doing it, I thought it looked really nice and like kind of what I want to try and do more is render it more so that it looks sort of semi-realistic, not totally realistic, but I think while I was making all these presents, this was kind of the first one that I started to get a hang for what I kind of want to try and do next with my shading style, and I kind of tried to carry that through the rest of my drawings, but some of them it was more difficult just because it's really hard to shade like that with light colors and everything. So here's kind of where I went back into the hair and tried doing the grouped hair strands, but I didn't like how it turned out. Like, I kept redoing it and everything. So what I did was I used the lasso tool and kind of made jagged selections and everything, as you can see, and colored around them with like the hair colors that I wanted to use. And I think it turned out okay for this piece. I don't think I would do it again just because to me it looks too thought out and planned, even though it wasn't really thought out and planned. So yeah. Also, the line art was giving me a lot of troubles in this picture, and the later ones I did, for some reason the color wouldn't go all the way up to the line art. There would be a little white gap, like of a pixel or so, and so I'd have to go back on the line art layer and make it black so that the color did go right up to that line art. I don't know why that happened or why it happens, and the only way to fix it I know of is to just go back over your line art in those areas. And here for her wings, I'll call them wings, I don't know if they're really wings or whatnot. I kind of wanted to shade them like I usually do, but I was trying all different brushes and everything, but I never really liked how it turned out. And also it was such a large area with such a large brush that it was slowing my computer down. So I ended up using those splatter paint brushes that I used in my last video. And then I added a glow effect to it so that it kind of glowed and everything, and just left the background plain and white. But we're coming to the end of the video, so thanks for watching, and see you all in the next video.